everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US. And today I'd like to share with you some outside-the-box ideas that I created with the contents of the July 2020 Paper Pumpkin Kit from Stampin' Up! Titled Summer Nights. These monthly kits come straight to my mailbox each month and contain everything I need to make fun, creative paper crafting cards and projects. This month's kit contains supplies for making 9 postcard-style cards and 9 die-cut tea light bags. Plus, there are lots of extra die cuts and embellishments too. I received 2 items that I can use over and over again, even after the consumables from my kit are used up. This Blackberry Bliss mini ink pad and this exclusive photopolymer stamp set. The kit also included a publication with directions, tips, photos, details about the kit, and a link to a how-to video to help guide me in assembling. A clear block, which was included free with my first kit for mounting and using my stamps, and my scissors are the only extra supplies that I really need to provide. These kits are produced through Stampin' Up!, so the colors, images, and supplies always coordinate with many other Stampin' Up! Products. In fact, this month, Paper Pumpkin has put out a new supply item that you can get in the online store. It is the Summer Nights add-on kit, which is a set of 24 cards and envelopes that coordinate with this kit. You would purchase them just as you would purchase any other supplies in the Stampin' Up! Store. I'll be using some of these as I share my alternate projects, and you can find those items that I use listed below and linked to my online store. You can also look below for links to learning more about Paper Pumpkin kits, starting your subscription through me so I can spoil you with extra exclusive ideas, gifts, and prizes, joining my Paper Pumpkin fan club on Facebook where you can see even more alternate project ideas shared daily, and if you're watching my video on YouTube, a link to my website where I've shared photos of the projects I'm going to make today. I'm excited to create alternate projects with this kit, so let's get started. One thing I want to mention before we begin is that I'll be substituting the adhesive, the Stampin' Spot, and the clear block for some items that are a little bit easier for me to use. I'm going to use my ergonomic blocks D, C, B, and A, my larger ink pad, Blackberry Bliss. I'll be using Snail, which is like a Seal, which is a tape runner adhesive. This is our new Seal. We used to have something called Snail. And then I'll be using these larger dimensionals. I'll probably be using these as well, but I really love to bring in my tape runner adhesive. So let's get started. I'm going to show you the products that we'll be using from the kit for our first card. We'll be using an envelope, we'll be using one of the postcards, and we'll be using one of the bags. And we're going to make a full-size card from that. I'll also be bringing in the star embellishments from the kit and a few stamps. From outside the kit, I'll be using these coordinating glitter enamel dots that work really well with those stars. These are called the gold glitter enamel dots. I'll be using paper snips, of course, and I have one marked for ribbon. When you cut with paper with scissors, that tends to dull your scissors. So whenever I want to cut ribbon, I use my sharp scissors there. I'll be using this punch here. I'll be using some ribbon. This is our gold, what is it called? Gold Shimmer ribbon, because it coordinates well. And I'll also be bringing in another ink pad called Night of Navy, plus our trimmer. So let's start by taking the bag from the kit, and you're going to open it up, and you're going to pull it apart from the bottom. So first you have to open it nice and wide, and then you just slowly start to peel away the bottom so that it opens, and it's pretty easy to do. It doesn't take too much work to open those bags up. We're going to be making a slider card. So now what we want to do is flatten it out, and we're going to flatten it out this way rather than this way. You can see the seam of the bag right here, so you want to make sure that that is on the very top edge and hidden away. Then we're going to take our trimmer and we're going to trim off the scallop or zigzag edge here. You're just going to trim that much off. And after that, we're going to have our bag and rotate it this way so that we're coming to the 4 1/8 inch mark, and that should be where your bag has this natural crease in it. So you don't need to score that yourself unless you feel you need to, but that score line goes through the back side and through some of the front side here. So if you just take and fold your bag there, you can even use a bone folder if you want to help crease it. But that will give us the base outside layer of our slider card. Now we need to trim off some of this, so we're going to bring this back into our trimmer. And I brought it to the 4 3/4 inch mark here. And I just trimmed it off with my trimmer blade. This you can discard or you can use it for something else if you'd like. This part here is going to get folded back, but we don't want 2 layers, we just want 1. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our paper snips and we're going to miter or angle cut on the 2 sides of that. And then we're going to come in and we're going to trim out this back layer here. Now, if you notice, this makes it a little quicker. You can fold here and trim 2 layers at once. You're just going to trim right along that score line. You won't be able to go all the way, but at least you can cut a lot at once pretty evenly. And then we'll just finish that off. Remove that portion. This now is going to get taped down, so we're just going to grab our seal adhesive and we're going to press down evenly and firmly, pulling it back, and then you're going to tip it forward to stop the tape from running. You don't want to get those little gummy ends or it takes a while to catch that thing back up again. And then we just flap this down and press. We're going to grab this punch now. I forgot the name of it. It will be in the description here. Something trio punch. But do you see this here? It's got this little line. So we're going to line that up with this crease line that's right here. Because the slider ribbon on our card, we want to hide. We don't want it to be in the center. Normally I'd say center this, but if you put it in the center, you're going to see the ribbon sliding in this window, and we don't want that to happen. For the ribbon, you want the length of your ribbon to, when it's folded, to be long enough to go through to the card and back out, and then we're going to tie it in a knot. So you only need, let's see, let's just measure this here. We'll start with this amount, and if we have to trim it down, we can. You only need about 15 inches, 14 or 15 inches of ribbon. Okay, before we add anything to the inside of our card, we're going to stamp on it. This here is going to be the slider part of our card. So you can see it slides in, and it emphasizes that firework there in the card. So now we're going to take our stamp and our inks. We're going to use the Night of Navy. We're also going to bring in the Blackberry Bliss color, and we're going to stamp a few random fireworks on there. We're also going to add some of these stars and gold glitter enamel dots. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you don't stamp over the holes of your card or over this, because then it will come through to your card on the inside, or at least to the back part. So keeping that in there might be a good idea so that you know where not to stamp, but also having some scrap paper underneath, such as that grid paper that I had pulled out at the beginning of the video. Okay, now it comes time to actually put the slider part into our card. You can see I just threaded the ribbon right through those 2 holes. And then I'm going to take and open up this card right here. And you can see what's happening is this card is pushing the ribbon into the pocket there. And I can just adjust this ribbon, make it equal length, and then I can just tie it in an overhand knot. And you want to get the knot fairly close to the card when it's closed all the way. And then you can also fold it over when you're going to tuck it into your envelope. So let's just do that right now so you can see how it fits. Here's the envelope. And yes, indeed, this flattened down bag does fit into the envelope. So you can send it off to someone in the mail. So they're going to pull it out, they're going to open it up. It says, "You light up my life." they're going to pull on the ribbon, and this part's going to slide out, and you can write a note down here. You could even write on the back. But that is a slider card. Isn't that fun? So it can come in and out. You can put it right back in there and just tuck it in and push it back in, and it'll slide shut again. They don't even have to take it out. They can just leave it so it can slide in and out. Fun card, right? So you can make a full-size card from the contents of your kit and just a few extra little things. I'm going to show you another one really quickly, and that's where I'm going to use this piece here as a flower instead. You can see that I use the gold glitter enamel dots here and here just to kind of emphasize those little fireworks all over. So let's grab in another one. This one I've already pre-set up. So I've got the hole here, I've got this flap already flapped over or taped down, and we're going to turn this into a flower. So to do so, I thought it'd be fun to pull in Mango Melody, which is a beautiful orangish yellow color. Now, I don't have like a circle punch anymore. We used to have this half-inch circle punch, which would have been perfect there. But this is a great idea too. You can take a dauber and then just insert some scrap paper. Hey, we can take this right here. This is our scrap from the last one, right? We're just going to put it in here so that we're protecting the inside of the card. And we're going to grab our dauber. You can even put your finger on the inside there. And you're going to ink it up so that you get a little bit of ink on that circular sponge area. Then you just take and put it right down in the middle and give it a little twist and lift it up, and you've got the center of your flower all set to go. So we can slide that out, and you can see there's a little bit of ink on there, so it's good that we put that in there to protect. When we put this in, it looks like a blue flower. So let's put the stem on here. We're going to use that same color blue. That blue is called Coastal Cabana. It's a beautiful, beautiful blue, as you can see. And we're going to grab the stick image that comes in that stamp set in the kit, and I just gave it a little bit of a bend because flowers have a natural little curve to them in the stem, right? And we're just going to stamp that off to the side here like that. Now you could stamp it a couple times just to make it a little bit thicker if you want to. So we can come in again and go right next to it to make it a little bit wider, and maybe even one more time. Then we've got some ribbon that coordinates, and this ribbon comes in a 3-pack. It's got some beautiful colors in it. Oops, including, where did it go now? Here it is. Including Night of Navy, which is one of the colors of the kit, in the kit, and it's an 1/8 inch wide kind of a satiny ribbon. And then we've got this one here, which is a striped organza or organdy ribbon. And so I've already tied some in a bow, and that can act as the leaf part of our flowers. So we're just going to take some of the glue dots in the kit, wherever I put those, and we'll add that to the front of our card. I'm just going to take and remove the backing on one. I need to get my take your pick tool. That really helps with this. Then you don't have to use your fingernails, but if you apply the glue dots to the back side here, I'll grab it in a minute, and then you squish it down, and then you peel off the backing. You can add it to the front of your card. So I decided this stamp set has invitation, has kind of party type sentiments in it. So I thought, why not bring in some sentiments of my own? I'm bringing in this stamp set called A Grand Kid, and it's perfect for people who have grandchildren, but a lot of these are perfect for anybody, really. I mean, if you have this here and this here and this here removed, you've got tons of stamps that don't say anything about grandchildren or whatever. So I don't have grandchildren yet, and so I love this stamp set because I can use most of these images. I'll be using this one here, So Smart, So Fun, So Sweet, and So Wonderful, and We Must Be Related. So, because you've got kind of an outside and an inside image. I have not even assembled these yet. I should probably show you how to do that. It's pretty easy. So these are called cling mount stamps, as opposed to our totally clear stamps called photopolymer. So let me give you a quick lesson on that. If you are new to paper crafting and you don't have all of these fun goodies. Don't be intimidated. So here's our image. It says so smart, so fun. You can see this is where it's going to go, is right here, right? So you're going to peel off half of it, then you're going to peel off the backing on this stamp. You're going to line it up, and I always do half so that I can kind of start with this side and make sure that everything's lining up over here before I lay it completely down. And then I smush it and I make sure I'm on a flat surface like a table, like this. And then I come from this side and I peel it up. So there's the label, but I still have to pull it off here and remove this backing. When I do that, I need to be careful so that this does not fold over onto that, or you're going to have, your label's going to be gone. It's going to be hard to peel off. So you have to kind of just hold it upright, peel this off, and then slowly kind of work it down onto the surface of your stamp. And that's when you can come in, and here we'll just peel this off. You can come in and flatten it down with your block. Now these are cling mount stamps, so they are clingy, so you have to get your fingernail underneath when you peel it off your clear block when you're done using it. I'm going to open up the Coastal Cabana color again, and we're going to add these sentiments to our card. I think this is hilarious. So we'll stamp this one down here. And on the inside, which you'll want to do a little bit lower. In fact, we probably need a darker color now. We'll grab our navy ink here. We want to make sure that this sentiment is also down low. And the last step, of course, is adding the ribbon. So again, just slide it through, open up your base here, and just pop that in, adjust so you've got an even amount on each side. And this ribbon is a little bit more it's got more friction to it, so we're going to have to make sure that they kind of come down at the same time. There we go. And then tie your overhand knot. And again, that could be folded in when you put it into your envelope. And let's see here. Ta-da! Maybe I should have stamped that a little bit lower so that it was easier to read when you opened it up. But there we go. If you recall at the beginning of the video, I mentioned this beautiful card and envelope pack. It's called an add-on pack for summer nights. You can purchase this in the online store if you are a subscriber, and it coordinates super well with the designs that are in the kit. I know a lot of us subscribers love to make full-size cards, so this is a great investment. Now, these designs that come in the kit are very similar. They're not exactly the same, but you can see they work well together. So if you invest in this card pack, this would make like a great layer to go onto your cards, or you can do other things with it like I'm sharing in the video. But just investing in simple cardstock can work as well. You can get like medium-sized envelopes in the online store too, so that they fit. But you can just coordinate these layers with white or black, those two colors right there of basic cardstock to add along with the alternates that you do in the kit can make some striking full-size cards. The other colors that I recommend that you could try out would be Blackberry Bliss, Night of Navy, Calypso Coral, and Coastal Cabana. Great colors. We're going to go ahead and use the Blackberry Bliss along with this layer here, and we're going to make a full-size card. So we're just investing in a little bit of extra cardstock. I'm also going to use a scrap of Whisper White. So we're going to start. One of the great advantages, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit. One of the great advantages to having your own cardstock on hand is being able to cut your cardstock in a different way. Now, when you get paper pumpkin boxes, they fit cardstock bases that are this way. which is half of an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper or cardstock, right? But you can also cut that 8.5 by 11 cardstock this way, and you can come up with more of a vertical type of, or portrait type of card. So we're going to take 8.5 and bring it to the 4¼ inch mark here on our trimmer and slice it in half, and then we're going to rotate it. I'm going to put a score mark in there. So half of 11, which is this direction, is 5.5. And now you can see we have a totally different look to our card base. It opens this way instead. Okay, here's our scrap of Whisper Whites. We're also going to be using that, and we're going to punch that out with this wonderful punch. I think it's called the Lovely Labels punch. I forgot. I'll look that one up too, but it's also written below. All right, so we're going to punch out that fun little shape. We're going to bring in our stick-looking stamp. We're going to bring in the stamp that says "You Light Up My Life," and our Blackberry Bliss ink, which comes in the kit in that small little ink spot size. Okay, now that we have our sentiment stamped, we're just going to set that aside. And we're going to bring in 5 lantern pieces, and we're going to arrange those on this piece here in kind of a fun little pattern, as if they are coming down from somewhere up here, like a branch of a tree or something. So we're just going to arrange them. And you want to lay out your design first, because that will indicate where you stamp those long string lines that are going to attach your lanterns to that branch, that imaginary branch above. So now that we've kind of figured out how they are spaced and how they look nice and even, right? You're going to take your paper and your ink, and we're going to start stamping. Let's grab a little bit of scrap paper. And one more thing that I recommend you do is to lay your sentiment piece where it's going to go. So I think I'm going to actually adjust these down a little bit lower. Your strings coming down from your lanterns might not be exactly spaced apart evenly, and that's fine because all of these lanterns are different sizes. So as long as you get them close, right? So now we're going to grab either the glue dots from the kit or our seal adhesive, and we're going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back side of each of the lanterns and add them where we want them. Further down. All right, this piece here is going to be put up on dimensionals. You can use the mini dimensionals in the kit, or, because I love to work with the larger ones, when I have a larger object, I'm just going to go ahead and add those. We're going to place this up in here. And then I think I'm going to grab a little tiny star from the kit, and we'll place a glue dot. I brought my Take Your Pick tool over. We'll grab a glue dot from the kit, place it down, peel off the back. See how handy this tool is? It's awesome. And we're just going to set that right behind the corner here, like that. So we've already got our card base ready to go. And I decided to pop this up with dimensionals just to give it a little bit more shadow behind the layer. And there's a simple, easy little card to do. Now I would take more white scrap and, get a larger piece and place it on the inside of the card, but you got the idea. Let me show you a couple other samples. I mentioned the Whisper White medium-size envelopes. They are the same size as the envelopes that come in the kit. The flaps are just a little bit longer, but basically you have the exact same size. So if you needed more envelopes, you could invest in those. So this is the second card that I made, and you can see it will fit inside our kit envelopes with that size cut cardstock. So another card that I did, I was inspired by the video that was the promotional video that came out with the kit where they did some sparklers using gold embossing powder. So I did something similar. Used the same punch, and this punch, by the way, is called the Label Me Fancy punch. Sorry about that. I used the gold glitter enamel dots in the middle of the two sparklers and a couple down here as embellishments. So for embossing, if you haven't seen that before, basically you stamp with a clear sticky ink, or any sticky ink I should say, but the Versamark ink pad's perfect for that. Then you would sprinkle on some powder, and I have gold emboss powder, Stampin' Emboss powder inside just a little container here with a spoon because it makes it easy for me to apply it to my sticky ink. So I've stamped it down with the sticky ink, then I put the powder on and I shake off any excess, and the powder just clings to the image that I stamped. And then I take what's called a heat tool, and it's just a electrical tool that has really, really high hot heat, so you don't want to use it as a hair dryer. It's very hot if your hand's in front of it, so be careful. But you would just aim that heat at the powder and it would melt the powder onto the cardstock. So that's how I got that look, and you can feel the raised melted powder and how it's got texture to it and everything. So that is the sparkler card. Then I did another one. I didn't quite finish it yet, but I used the stamp set called Whale Done because I thought that this one looked very sea-like, kind of oceany, and I stamped a couple images from that stamp set, the fish image, and then I think that's a jellyfish, using the Coastal Cabana ink pad. And then I took my Whisper White card base, which I cut the same way as the basic black for this one and the Blackberry Bliss for the other one. But this time I put an extra score line halfway through this section. So that would be 2 3/4 inches. And once you've got that score line in there, then you can crease it this direction like this. We're going to make an easel card real quickly. So I've already tied on some more of that Coastal Cabana fun ribbon that we had. I've stamped a sentiment from the stamp set with the Night of Navy ink. So I used 2 inks in this. I used the Night of Navy and the Coastal Cabana on these pieces. I'm going to go ahead and tape this down using my seal adhesive. And we're going to just put that directly onto the paper, the layer here, but we're going to have it slightly off. You can see I've left some room for a little bit of excess hangover there. Now you could leave that, but I'm going to trim it up just because I want to. It's a fun look. And then this is going to go onto the front of our card, but it's just going to attach to the lower portion here. So because I want to make sure that my adhesive goes only on the lower half here, I'm going to put the top layer of adhesive on here, making sure that I'm leaving room on the edges because this has, of course, a border around it, right? You don't want to go beyond. And then this piece, I'm going to just go along the bottom like that. Now, we're going to center it in the front of the card base like this. And when I've got my card to open, it will just sit propped up on that fun little ribbon, the bow of the ribbon like that, and it becomes an easel card. So very simple, very easy easel card, fun to make. I hope you enjoyed these 3. So these are 3 other alternate card ideas, and again, you could invest in the extra envelopes if you need to, but the Whisper White envelopes or the white envelopes that come in the kit are sufficient. So there are 3 more cards. Okay, now I'm going to show you a fun little treat idea. I received this adorable, cute little Ghirardelli treat holder from my friend, my upline, fellow demonstrator, Susan Campfield. I don't know how many years ago, a couple years maybe back, I don't know, maybe it was last year. Time flies, doesn't it? But it's real easy to make. So I'm going to show you how to do that. What I did is I peeled hers apart and I looked at the measurements, and we're going to do that because this piece here is the perfect width. The postcard layer that comes in the kit is the perfect width. So let's go ahead and trim off the bottom here, and we'll start scoring and cutting, and we'll assemble this fun little Ghirardelli treat holder. So for this fun treat holder, you need a piece of cardstock. In this case, we're using this layer that is 4 inches wide by 4 1/4 inches tall. So that means that we've trimmed off an inch piece. Now don't throw that away, we're going to use that. Then we're going to come in and from the bottom, this is going to be at the bottom, we're going to score at 1 inch and 1 1/2 inch. And then we're going to score on each side, and we'll use the measurements on this side of the trimmer. We're going to score on each side 1/2 inch in. You'll notice on this one, she's got these fun little angles coming down. So to do that, we're going to use a ruler and a pencil, and I'm going to flip it over because I think it'll be easier to see. And we're just going to mark 1 inch down. And we'll do that on each side. And then we just want to connect that mark to the score line. And we could even eyeball that so we don't have to put pencil lines in there. But you're just going to cut from there straight up to that point on the score line. And now we're ready to start scoring, just folding along those score lines so we can see where they're at. Okay, so now we need to do some trimming. We're going to take our paper snips again, and we're going to cut into the 2 side score lines on each side. And you can see here, she's got angle cuts on the 2 tabs. So miter cut or angle cut, these 2 tiny little middle tabs. We need to start planning out where our pieces, our extra embellishments are going to go. So I'm going to add these lightning bugs or fireflies to this area and this area. And I want to add a little bit more of this blue down here because you can only really see it on the inside. So we're going to be adding that strip across this section, and that's where that little guy is going to go. And then I thought it'd be fun to stamp "It's a Party." So before we actually have to assemble this whole thing, we need to know where our embellishments and our stamps and our other pieces are going to go, because we may have to stamp first. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's stamp "It's a Party" up here. And we're just going to trim off one rounded corner edge on this extra strip, and then we're going to trim this piece so that it fits in here. And this piece is 3 inches wide. We'll make it just slightly under, just a tiny fraction of an inch under. Then the last thing I want to make sure I'm doing is putting the adhesive on with, or attaching this together with really, really strong adhesive. I'm going to use the Tear and Tape adhesive. It's an awesome adhesive. If you are a beginning crafter, this is the one I recommend. It's super easy to use. You just peel it off like any type of tape, and you tear it, and you've got a very simple, easy to use, strong adhesive. So once you have your adhesive in place, you can just peel off the release paper. So there's a backing to it. And you just peel those pieces off. You can use your fingernail, or Again, this tool comes in so handy. You can just get right under there with the pokey part of it. I've also put a couple pieces on these two tabs here, and one of them extends a little bit too far. So all you have to do is just fold it back onto itself. Alright, so those are done. Now you're just going to start with these two, so the long one and the tiny tab, and you're going to connect them like this. And then these are going to connect to the outside. And if you have everything square, it's going to sit up on its own. And then you can, throw your little candies in there and figure out exactly where your embellishments will fit. So I've already put glue dots on the back side of this darker lightning bug or firefly. And we're just going to add that one here. And this one I can add with more glue dots from the kit, or to make it quick, I'll just put a little bit of this adhesive on the back side, and we'll stick that one up here. And I thought these would be fun to bring in again. They're just so cute, and they work so well with this kit. So to me, they look like you can make a little trail of where the firefly is coming from. And there we have our cute little party favor. I love it. All right, so now we're going to bring in the add-on card and envelope pack, and I am going to show you how to take the extra pieces that you would have left over if you did the kit as is. I'm going to show you how to take those extra pieces and make 23 full-size extra cards. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how I made these cards, because I did not invest in hardly anything. You might be using your paper snips. You'll need a trimmer. You'll need, of course, the block that came free with your first kit. You'll need the paper pumpkin kit, and then you'll need the add-on cards and envelopes. That's it. That is it. So, how did we do that? Because your kit actually has a ton of extra supplies. When you're done making the projects as is, the 9 tea light lanterns, the 9 tea light lanterns, the postcards and everything, you're going to have a bunch of extra goodies. You're going to have 5 of each of these little die cut lanterns. 5 of each of them. That's 25 lanterns. You're going to have 18 of these bugs and 17 of these. You're going to have 20 of these little stars. You are going to have 1 of these left over. You're going to have 3 of the jars, the little vellum jars, or I should say large vellum jars. You're going to have 1 of these labels. You're going to have 3 of these. You're going to have 1 of these. And you're going to have 14 of these stars. So what I did is I took all of those pieces and I laid them out and figured out how I could make a bunch of different cards. And the one thing I needed to do was sacrifice one of the card bases. So I took this one, and I took my trimmer and I trimmed down the middle. I trimmed down the middle again on each of those, and then I started slicing in these directions. And some of them I made taller and some of them I made shorter, depending on the sentiment that I was going to stamp on them. So some of them were tall like this, some of them were shorter, but you can see I just split right down into 4 columns on a card base and then started going this way to make a bunch of labels. So then I came up with labels like this. So I took and stamped on them. Some I stamped on the white side, some I stamped on the printed side because I thought that was kind of fun. And I also didn't need one of the envelopes, did I? So I had 23 envelopes, 23 cards, and I came up with these designs. Now this first one, actually I'm going to give you that one in just a minute. This one is using that one Ferris wheel, the park little image, right? I just had one of those. So you can only make one of these cards. I added a star sticker on the inside for embellishment, and I have one here. This is using, of course, the extra card piece, and I've got some fireworks going on in the background, so that you make one of those. Then remember we had one label like this, so I made one of these cards, and this one has a dark firefly and 5 stars, and I think, yep, I didn't put anything on the inside of that one. This is popped up on dimensionals. The sentiment on this one is popped up on dimensionals too, and the firefly or lightning bug is popped up on dimensionals. This is the third card. Again, I just made one of this one because I only had one of these labels. This is popped up on dimensionals, so is the little bug, and then these guys are all placed down with the glue dots that come in the kit. Nothing on the inside of that one. So that's what I did with those 3 cards, just one of each of them. I'll show you them all in, at the end. This one I did, I think I did 2. Yes, I did 2 of this one. I have my little cheat sheets on the inside. I did 2 of this one, and this one I've already instructed you how to make. So you know how to make this one. These pieces, by the way, are, let me tell you what they measure. So the smaller ones measure 2 1/8 inches by 3/4 inches, and the larger ones measure 2 1/8 by a little bit over 1 1/2. So 1 9/16. You can see it's just over that 1 1/2 inch mark. So 2 of those, and then 3 of these, because we had 3 extra jars left over, and on each of those jars I could use 2 of the dark ones and 1 of the light ones. I've got this one up on dimensionals. This is stuck down kind of in a secret way. What I did is I put these 3 pieces on top of the jar before I even put them onto the card. So I stuck this down onto the jar, I stuck this down onto the jar, and I put this onto the jar. Now, of course, I didn't know where to put the little burst behind it, and I wanted that centered. So I didn't actually stick them until I had done the stamping. So I laid them onto my card, then I quickly lifted or moved it away, I stamped, I put the jar back, I figured out where the next bug was going to be, I moved this away and I stamped, and then I laid the jar back down one more time, and I positioned these guys exactly where they would sit so that they were inside the middle of that little burst behind it, right? And then I stuck them down with a glue dot. I put this through the middle with dimensionals. I made sure that I also stamped these little fireflies behind there so that they would sit within the jar. And then all I have is adhesive behind those areas. So this is stuck onto the jar, but then I also have adhesive right behind that lightning bug area, right behind this label, and right behind this bug, so that it's stuck down onto the card. And that's how I did that. I did 3 of those cards, nothing on the inside. I did 3 of these, so I had extra lanterns, of course, and those went on this background with my little label down here. I did 3 of these, and so I had 3 extra labels here. I had some darker bugs that I put up. This one's on dimensionals, this is up on dimensionals, and my star is actually up on a little dimensional too. On the inside, I had room for an extra lightning bug, so I stuck one on the inside of each of those cards. And again, I did 3 of those. This one I was able to do 4 of because I had some extra star stickers, right? So I did 4 of those. I don't think, nope, nothing stamped on the inside. 4 of those. Those are pretty simple and easy. And then I did 5 of these because I had, of course, lots of light colored bugs left over, and nothing stamped on the inside of that one. So let me lay those out for you. When you visit my blog, my website, you'll be able to see a photo with all these cards laid out, and I'll have the numbers next to them so that you know how many you can make. I didn't walk you through making each one of these because they are pretty simple and straightforward, but I will show them all to you. All of the designs. You get 23, again, 23 extra cards just by using the leftovers from the kit, the add-on card and envelope pack, and bringing in a trimmer. This is what you get. It's awesome, right? Now that you've watched my video, I hope you can see that there's so much more to these kits than meets the eye. With just a few extra supplies and some imagination, you can go beyond and make so much more with these super affordable kits. I hope you gain some inspiration from what I've shared. Thank you for watching. It builds creativity to think outside the box. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can catch more paper pumpkin videos that I've shared using past kits and more that I'll share with future kits. Also, be sure to visit my website at stampyourartout.com so that you can view close-up photos of these projects, see photos of other paper pumpkin kit ideas in future and past posts, and see many other great ideas that I share using Stampin' Up! Products. You'll find my direct website link in the description below. You can also explore alternate project ideas on Pinterest with Google searches, on the Paper Pumpkin Fan Club on Facebook, and through other videos here on YouTube. If you want to get spoiled with extra goodies, gifts, prizes, and extra exclusive Paper Pumpkin project ideas, remember to get your subscription started with me as your demonstrator using the link below. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.